Alright, time to drink more. It's right after I drank this vodka juice. It's not vodka, but whatever it is. Energy juice.
You started believing in the spiritual mumbo jambo.
Oh, you know I've always believed spiritual mumbo jumbo.
Oh, me too.
Even without vodka, imagine how it would be if I started drinking.
Yeah.
It'd be bad.
I like knowing about self-help stuff because, like, whenever I visit my psychologist now, she's always asking me, like, oh, like, what do you... Yeah! Oh, look at that other heart. Oh, it's so nice.
Continue on.
But it's like, seeing the psychologist now, she always asks me, like, because, like, we're talking about, like, my anxiety and how it's, she's recommended that I actually go see, like, I don't know how to walk. Oh, that was
okay,
scary.
we're going to come back so you can talk.
The podcast.
But,
Welcome back. Wait, what are we going to call that last episode? Okay, we did it.
Yes.
Alright, anyway, continue.
So, she... basically, like, my anxiety is getting so bad that she's, like, recommending me to go to a psychiatrist so they can get deeper into, like, my anxiety. Because at first she thought, like, my anxiety was, like, I avoid things, but I'm like, no, I don't avoid stuff because, like, I'll go and, like, do things, and, like, I'm not, like, I don't avoid things.
Yeah, you don't need exposure therapy, basically.
Yeah, like, because I already go and do it, it's just when I'm in that situation, I don't like it.
Yeah, and it's not like doing it more has made it go away.
Yeah, because she was like, oh, I thought you had agoraphobia, which meant, like, you know, not wanting to go out places, but apparently agoraphobia also is that, too. I don't know.
Me neither,
But, so yeah, she basically, we were talking about anxiety, and it's really interesting, like, talking with her about it, because there's a lot of times where she asks me, like, oh, what do you think will help? Or, like, what do you think, like, our plan of action should be? And I'm always like, I don't know. She's like,
yeah.
Oh, how do you feel, like, during this? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know anything about myself, kind of. And I, like, notice that a lot is, like, when people are always, like, asking me, like, things about myself, or, like, oh, when your anxiety flares up, for example, like, where are you, or, like, what are you doing, or how do you feel? I'm always like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like lately my brain has just been shutting off so much, where, like, I can't just, like, I can never think.
Yeah. That's another, it's the same type of thing that I remember, oh man, you almost hit your face on that bat. I remember that type of thing happening so I talked to my therapist basically about, like, how to deal with anxieties or whatever, and the first step that he always took was, like, he gave me these sheets, or I could just do it in kind of scary, in a notebook or whatever, but it's basically like, when you feel anxious, write it down, and write down, there was, like, a list of things, like, scale of 1 to 10, how bad is it like an ambient anxiety or like a panic attack, and what are you doing? And just keep track of it. And then once you start to see those patterns, it's really interesting how just writing it down can help just make it go away. And I don't know why that happens, but it's just like what you're saying is, like, if you don't, even if it's your life, you would think you would know.
Yeah.
But you're like, when does it? I don't know. I just know that it sometimes happens.
Yeah, like,
and you're not even aware of why or when or whatever.
Yeah, like, I feel like a lot lately, my brain has just been, like, dead. Like, I just kind of go through the motions, and, like, I don't think, like, I really, like, don't. Oh, these guys are actually fishes. I thought they were, like,
Oh, they must be very resilient to
live
in water. And hey, you got a bow now. You can kill that piece of crap. Krill that piece of crap. Yeah. Feels good. Feels good to murder.
I do have a bow, so I can do.
Nice. Congratulations.
Nice. Oh.
Careful.
But yeah, I don't know where that topic where I started bringing this stuff
we actually
up.
have a very relevant listener question. It's not a question, but it's a, it's just, you know how sometimes people will say, hey, you guys said this and something, and I just wanted to tell you that, I don't know, you'll know what I mean.
Okay.
It's like that thing that happened with the Muslim chant in the fire temple. Sometimes people just will tell us things. So Jerry Brady says, guys, I've been watching through this playthrough Yes, and I've noticed you both use depressing as a synonym for sad. I like you both and know it's not out of hatred or anything, but it's important to note depression doesn't equal being a bit sad and to choose words differently. Which, of course, we both know, because I think we've both dealt with the issue of depression a lot.
I still do, but...
Oh, yes. I mean, as we've talked about the last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So, yeah, no, of course we know that, and it is just
it's one of those things where it's like you just use...
It's like a linguistic difference. Like, it's just a part of our vocabulary. But I get, though, that honestly, like, especially if you don't know that we are people who deal with and have dealt with that, like, a lot.
Yeah, because we don't... Depression and anxiety isn't something that, like, most people will, like, talk about, you know?
I feel like, yeah, that's definitely true.
Because it's one of those things, like, usually mental health is one of those, like, kind of taboo topics that people talk about, because it's, like, most people just don't understand how they're feeling, so it's, like, I might as well just, like, not even bring it up.
You just think,
because they'll just say, oh, get over it, or stop feeling sad. And it's like, but you can't.
Yep.
The
same spot 3 times.
You have to give me credit though, because I got it in the same spot 3 times that I happened to get it like.
No, you're very good at aiming. It's just you don't know what to aim at.
That's true.
But I do completely understand that perspective of like.
Yeah.
Imagine if you're someone who struggled with depression and you don't think that we have, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you hear these people saying like it's so depressing, you know. It's kind of like if someone who has OCD and they constantly hear, and this is probably actually a bigger problem.
Yeah. Like I'm so OCD. Right, wow, I shot that arrow out of the air.
Nice job. That one is used not only in just like talking, but like they'll do it in like TV shows and movies, and you hear it all the time. So I can't imagine like being a person with OCD.
Yeah.
And constantly hearing people being like, I'm so OCD.
And it's like, no, you're
just
not.
like, oh, you do not even understand like the struggle. And so it's the same thing with depression, right? So obviously we want to be careful with that, but in the same breath, we're talking for hours and hours and hours on end. So we do, things are going to, unfortunately,
also, it's kind of like,
piddle-paddle.
Like, if you have, like, we have depression, and if you use, like, people that joke about their problems, I feel like it makes it less of a, like, a hassle, or not a hassle, but, like, it makes it less serious, so you don't, like, feel bad about it all the time, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I have anxiety, and if I just start joking about it more, I'm going to take anxiety less seriously, so then it won't be as, like, much of a struggle, or I won't, like, hate myself over it, like, God, I can't believe, like...
Right, you're not thinking... right to the bottom of the ocean.
I'm not thinking, yeah, you're right, I'm not thinking.
It's something that helps a lot of people cope with it. But you also may make the argument that not taking it seriously is difficult for some people.
Yeah, because they can't joke about it.
To each their own.
Too hard.
Exactly, yeah.
So I don't know. It's like it goes both ways. Where it's like it's like we're making a joke about it, and it's also kind of like I missed it. Like we're like we can't think of words. You know. It's like,
and that's just part of the. And hopefully, the more we. I suppose past history is not indicating that this is going to get any better, but you would hope that the more we do this, the better at thinking of words we get.
Yeah.
And so the less of that kind of finagling we have to do. But I will say that I think that...
Was I not supposed to
You got to open the door first.
Oh. I got to shoot it. Okay.
Yeah. There is something to... Like, I think that when someone... There's just something that feels right to me about the idea that... I've heard people... It's fine, just keep going. Put it in the way, like, if you're doing something, just in general in life, I heard it phrased as you can spit across and spit up, but you don't spit down. So, like, if I have anxiety, I can joke about anxiety in, like, a way, because there's something...
It's like...
If you understand
it's like you're validated or something? Like,
I wonder what that...
Is that, like, what it is?
No, I think it's like...
It's like, because I have, like, cancer, I can joke about cancer.
Yeah, and it feels like if someone who has cancer jokes about cancer... I haven't thought about this enough to, like, figure out exactly how to put it into words. But there's something that feels a little bit right about that idea of, like, if you're doing something like this show, which is, we will refer to as comedy, but we all know truly isn't.
Yeah.
If you're doing something like that, like...
Oh my god.
You don't spit downward. You don't spit on people that have it worse than you or are having a rough go of it. But spitting upward and spitting across is okay. And so that like idea of joking about things you understand and not about things you don't. Fairy! Bottle that guy up.
How do I...
Oh, man.
Don't go away, Fairy. Don't go away.
Get it. Nice.
I had to make sure the bottle was out.
Yes. So it's not a perfect thing, but you know what I mean? Like, there's something that having depression and joking about depression is a lot different than someone who's never had to deal with it and is making jokes about it, you know? And so there's, you know, something to be said for that, you know?
Get up there.
Anyway, yeah, no, we understand what you're saying, Jerry Brady. Obviously, I think you understand what we're saying,
and it's also kind of like, a lot of times we say stuff, and it's like, we don't actually mean it. Especially me, like, I'll make jokes, and then when I listen back onto it, I'm like, God, I'm, like, really dumb. I shouldn't have said that. That was really mean. And it's like, you don't think with your brain a lot of the times, and then, like, the things that you say don't exactly mean how you feel,
right, they don't necessarily translate well, or because of what you're doing, like, in the case of a show like this, sometimes your brain's turned off.
Yeah.
And you are going to... What are you doing?
I want to get that chest up there, and I don't know how.
Oh.
You see, like, up there? It's up there. And
I have no idea how you would get up there.
I don't know.
I see that, like, hanging thing, and I'm thinking hook shot, but we don't have hook shot yet.
Yeah. Am I supposed to just, like, go to the edge of it and then, like, drop?
I don't think you can.
Well, that was weird.
I don't think you can reach. Yeah, you're not close enough.
Yeah, I'll just try it.
Huh.
Yeah, maybe it's one of those things that you have to come back to hook shot.
Yeah.
Alright, ready, drop! And too early.
Too early, but also I still don't think it's close enough. So.
Yeah. Oh, well.
In any case,
yeah.
You know,
anyways.
We'll make mistakes, and then you'll be like, hey, and we'll be like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's all good. We're just doing a
good.
thing, and you're doing a thing, and we understand, and great.
But it's also one of those things where I feel like we're not, like... I like to think that we're not those type of people that, like, say really mean stuff that hurts people's feelings, but I know I've probably hurt people's feelings because I say a lot of dumb things.
Right, but here's the thing.
But I feel, like, really bad about it, like, when I think back on it. Like, God, why did I... Like, the Allahu Akbar joke, and I'm just like, God, I feel so stupid. Like,
there's two things
like,
you
I
have
sound
to...
racist, even though I'm not.
Right,
like,
there's two things you have to remember, is that saying something... You don't have to be a bad person to say bad things. You know what I mean? And everyone is gonna say bad things sometimes.
Yeah.
You are just going to, no matter how good you are or you think you are, or whatever. You're human. You're gonna make mistakes, and you're gonna do things that even at the time you were like, whatever, it's not a big deal. But then later you'd be like, oh, right. And so you got to be patient with yourself in those cases. Be self-aware so that if you hear it later, you can, realize it. Or if someone says that, hey, maybe that was... Like,
it hurt my feelings.
Right. Or, you just want to be receptive to that kind of thing and take another person's opinion about what you said and put it together with yours rather than using your opinion to fart on theirs and get rid of it. You know what I mean? And so as long as you're going through that process of constantly, thinking about what you're saying and taking other people's... Oh, wow, there's a little army coming through here.
Oh, boy.
Here we go. See how Link handles a big army. Very, very well, given the fact that one slash hits everybody.
Yeah.
That's not quite how it works in real life. So yeah, like, as long as you're not... You don't have that mindset of, like, I'm finished thinking about this, and you know what I mean? Like you're
I'm
always
done.
just
I'm never gonna, like...
This is how I feel about this, the end, no matter what you say. Like, as long as it's always a process of taking people's input and combining it with your own, rather than snuffing out other people's opinions, kind of a thing. Yeah. Then I think you're doing okay. That's like the best you can sort of hope in cases like that. But being really self-aware is super important. Yep. Super important.
But like, I was also thinking, because you know how we had this conversation where it's like, oh, I want to stop swearing and stop saying a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, right. There was kind of two conversations going on there, but yeah, no, I remember what you're saying.
But and like how I was saying, like, oh, like, I want to finish this out before we go into the boss battle.
No, it's fine. We'll just podcast time.
Yeah, podcast time. We'll look at Link's beautiful face. Hold on, I'll find a
good, like, yeah.
And a nice little...
See if we can aim it. Not gonna work?
Maybe.
Okay, just look at his ass. It's fine.
So, So I was thinking about that. It's like I agree with what you're saying about like how we should stop.
Can you see this for a second?
Yeah, but how it's like, you know, we should stop saying like swear words and like stop making like really bad like, you know, jokes and stuff.
Right.
But then at the same time, like how I brought up like, oh, it's like Louis C.K. or something. How
right.
Did we miss something?
No, I'm just looking around.
Oh, but it's
just
like
to see.
How he's not afraid to like use jokes because it's like you shouldn't be afraid to joke about stuff and you shouldn't be afraid to offend people.
Yeah,
because I think
definitely.
Right now, because like I was watching like Johnny Bravo and it was just like, man, a lot of this stuff wouldn't fly today because it's like, you know, kind of sexist and like really like pig-headed humor and like how a lot of people get offended by that now. And it's kind of like, have we like developed to a like a really like everyone gets
overly
easily
sensitive, you say, right?
Like, we're all overly sensitive, so it's like you should be able to make light of a lot of things and make jokes about it as long as it's like not serious in a sense. But then it's also like I can see both sides where it's like you can't like there's a lot of times where you'll make a joke and then people get offended by it and it's
like that's real offense. Like those are real feelings that they're having. They're not made up.
Like, we'll joke where it's like every time I'm like, oh, like sexy Fire Emblem boy, and then he'll like jokingly call me like a whore or something, oh, you're being like a whore, and then I'm like, like slut or something, like, we'll joke about it. But then on Twitter, when I was like, oh, I married Kaze, and then he like he tweeted like whore, and when I saw that really hurt my feelings.
It's way different, right?
Yeah,
context
and
is super
made
important.
me feel really upset, and then I texted him like, dude, you really hurt my feelings, and he was like, oh, I said it like because how, you know, we always joke about like whore, and then it made me think like how jokes can be taken really seriously.
Isn't that exactly?
Yeah, so it's like you see, it's that double-sided coin or the like double-sided sword kind of where it's like it can either be like funny or it can make someone laugh and it can make someone like feel really bad.
And in the same joke in completely different contexts too. You know what I mean? Like so it's
one of those things where it's like, what do you do then?
There's a certain line, right? And there was an interesting way that because you mentioned Louis C.K. who in general does a lot of topics that would be considered offensive, and he was asked about this once, and he, like, I think both of us are in agreement that we don't quite know where we sit on this, right? We're still kind of like feeling right through it, but he said that as of right now, the way that he thinks about it is what is okay in a joke versus what determines if a joke has crossed the line is who has the power after the joke is told, right? So if you make a joke about rape and you're putting down the victim versus the person doing the raping, putting down the victim is not okay. Putting down the person doing the raping is theoretically okay. Or if you're making a joke, you know, about anything, and I didn't quite know what he meant by it, like who has the power when the joke is told? Who are we laughing at, right, when the joke is told? Are you laughing at the victim? Are you laughing at the minority? Are you laughing at the, you know, whatever it is? Or are you laughing at the racist people? Or are you laughing at the people, you know what I mean?
Because a lot of times, like, when I say, like, a lot of jokes, too, I'm making fun of, like, the actual, like, racist people.
And so this kind of goes in the case of that context with the whore joke that you were talking about with...
Because I'm making fun of people that actually say that and they're serious.
That context won't always... Even if it's exactly the same, like if you make that joke to me, I take it in the way of, oh, you're making fun of racist people because racist people are horrible. But if you put it out in a, you know, for example, if you say the exact same whore joke but put it in a setting like Twitter, totally different. The meaning gets completely jumbled, right? And sometimes because it's just the two of us hanging out, the jokes that we give to each other, the way it bounces between the two of us, don't bounce the same way outwards, right? The jokes between you and Vinny don't bounce the same way that they bounce outwards. So...
like if we were like, oh, get back to the cotton field, like if you're black and I said that to you, it's like I'm not making fun of that you're black, I'm making fun of like essentially the people that like say that and, like that are like that, but then other people are like, is she only saying that because you're black?
Right.
Like,
well,
or like because it's like a racist joke.
Right. And because of the like this kind of a medium, there's no way to communicate what perspective you're coming from. There's no way.
Like and with the depression thing too, like people thought we were like, you know, it's like, oh, we're just making that joke to like use it and we don't understand it. Right. So it's like that, I don't know. Yeah, it's...
And so part of me thinks it's just not worth it. Like I don't want to risk hurting people in that way. Yeah. And then part of me thinks it's like, maybe there's a way that if we say it in just the right way, people will understand. And that's kind of what people consider sort of the genius of a really good comedian, is being able to straddle that line and perfectly communicate what perspective they're coming from.
Yeah.
So that, Louis C.K. doesn't go up on stage and say Allahu Akbar, ha ha ha. You know what I mean? It's not there. There's an intricacy to it that communicates a certain perspective that not everybody. There's going to be people who will be hurt by things, and that's an unfortunate.
Yeah, like watching some of his stand up before I knew that that's what he did. I was kind of like, oh, that's really brutal humor.
Well, and some of his stuff,
really like it.
Some of his stuff, as far as I'm concerned, actually doesn't do a very good job of he doesn't do a very good job of actually crafting a joke in a way that makes it clear who you're laughing at. Sometimes it does feel like maybe it doesn't work as well.
Yeah.
But in any case, if it's different if you're making a joke like, haha, it's a bomb, Allahu Akbar, that's so funny, versus if you're doing something like Louis C.K. where he puts hours and hours and hours into putting together a thing to make sure it communicates a certain message. And so that's the only other distinction I want to draw in that case. So I have no idea exactly where I stand on any of it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'm like this, and sometimes I think the other thing, and sometimes that. Fascinating example with the horror joke, though. I think that's a perfect personal nugget of this whole problem that can be so.
Because it's I'm on both sides where it's I agree with not wanting to offend people. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Communications interrupt.
Yeah.
But it's I don't want to hurt people's feelings. Yet I also feel you should be able to say,
right,
what you want, but then not say what you want.
Yeah. But at the same time, not there's.
But say what we want, as in we're obviously not people that are racist or sexist or.
But. This is one of the things that we talked about in our conversation is if there was someone listening who maybe is a little bit who doesn't know who we are, or who maybe has slightly racist tendencies, they're going to hear those jokes and be like, haha, they're so right. And they're going to add that to their own opinion and take that as validation for an actual racist thought. And so you also have to deal with that.
But it's also not our fault that...
But we have a responsibility to make the world a good place, I feel or at least sometimes I think that way.
Yeah.
I always... especially in a public position like this, right? We're not void of responsibility of it's not our thing doesn't have an effect on people, and we do want to be aware of that, while at the same time not being so aware that all of the fun gets sucked out of it at the same time, if that's even a risk, but I don't know if it honestly is.
No, I agree.
It is also sort of related, if you go all the way back around, if you want to put these constraints on yourself, we don't do these jokes and these jokes because it's just not worth the risk, and we don't want to blah, blah, blah. We're just talking about a couple episodes, Art from Adversity. That just means you have to be more creative, and ultimately we'll probably get something even better at the end. So it's completely not a black and white thing, as in my mind.
Because I can see both sides to it. I can play the devil's advocate and see both sides to, either cutting all the bad jokes out or either doing it how we are right now, where it's we're making bad jokes every now and then, but we're also being nice. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's you do your best, and obviously we're being as self-aware as we can be, and people in our fan base call us out when they think that maybe something, and that's good. So
and the thing is, if someone gets hurt, I'd rather I want them to say that.
Yeah. But at the same time, if it's their first time watching a video and they're not,
and then they hear
then they'd be
like,
just another one of these people who are making fun of me for being depressed, what I mean, or making light of my. Then they just leave, and that makes me feel bad. I don't like that feeling.
And the thing is, I'm such a empathetic person.
I think,
where it's I take other people's problems onto myself, and I always tend to want to please everybody,
right?
Because it's I don't want to hurt people's feelings, because I know how it is to get my feelings hurt, and I don't want people to feel like that.
And so so
if I say something that people are you said something that really hurt my feelings, I'm I want to kill myself because I feel so bad. Right. I'm oh my god, how could I make them sad?
Well, imagine that we did this. Imagine we said, okay, no more of the stuff. Imagine a world where two people playing games says no more of that stuff that might hurt people. How bad is that? Not that bad.
Yeah.
We don't do it that it's not.
But the thing is, it's what is hurting people's feelings,
Well, we just stay aware. We do our best to, because I mean, we know what things hurt people's feelings.
Saying the N-word
is right, and we had an issue with that on stream. I'm kidding. And so
the thing is, it's like I also think of swear words as just swear words.
That's an issue.
Like I don't think of them as like.
Listen,
what
Aisha, I have to pee
are.
so bad, and this has gone on. This has gone on so long, and we need to beat this temple. So I unfortunately
people are just waiting here, like God, I don't want to listen to you guys. I came here to watch damn Zelda.
I think unfortunately this topic is going to have to. I'm sure there'll be plenty of comments and listener questions to go through, so we'll get back to this topic at some point. But I have to pee, and this is a 25-minute episode now.
Shit.
So
well, we know what to call it now. Podcast episode.
We do, exactly. So we're going to call it there. Well, we should remember to, at some point, not yet, I want to have like a couple of non-really serious discussion episodes, probably. But at some point, come back to that idea of just like words. Yeah. Because that's an interesting thing.
But it's hard to have a serious conversation and play.
Yeah.
Because I can't think properly. And that's why I say a lot of garbage words. Because I can't think while I'm playing.
No,
it's hard.
You're totally right, and you need to be quiet so I can end the episode. I'm kidding. All right, we'll be back next time to beat the boss.
Bye.